Good evening, everybody. Are we live? Is the simple answer. There's about 400,000 people here at the moment. Are we live? Unfortunately, I have no idea where Jason is. He has told me that he's not feeling particularly well. That was about 3 hours ago now. So, yeah, I don't know where he is the simple answer, but I need to know if we're live right now. Right, we're live, cool. Good evening, everybody. Yes, welcome to the usual Saturday Night Live reaction, chatting about today's action. And now we're live, everybody's going away. Brilliant. It's great, isn't it? Fucking morons. Morons. Waiting around for 25 minutes and the second we go live, just go. Just leave. Brilliant. Yeah, today's action has been, what's the word I'm looking for? Massed, marged. I don't know what the bloody word is by obviously the tragic events that happened at the Bournemouth game today with Tom Lockyer going into cardiac arrest. Obviously the game was abandoned. The game was 1-1, I believe, at the time. And yeah, the game was abandoned. I was kind of updating via Twitter what was going on, because TalkSport were live at Dan's hometown ground, and essentially that's all I really want to talk about, because I know there's a lot of people on Twitter not particularly happy with certain aspects of the way the point scoring system is, but I personally have no interest in it. The most important thing is that Tom Lockyer is in good health, to be completely honest, so we're just going to skip over that. Just quickly say hello to a few people here. Just quickly say hi, as animation says, hi. Good evening to Andrew Ferguson, Cole, Harry, John, Matty, Scotty D, Gary B, Dan is here. Dan, if you want to join me on the Discord, by all means, let me know if you want to. David Mills here. In fact, Dan, you're actually watching this live. It's incredible. Kickers, good afternoon. Patrick, don't recognise the name. If you are brand new around here, make sure you are hitting the subscribe button. Just like this gentleman here, Nujable. Matthew Zaishi, good evening. John Wilkes. John Wilkes apparently listened to the Total Steeler podcast and apparently enjoyed it. Ooh. So, yeah, I've just come off the back of, a annoying little accident at work where I stupidly knocked off the wing mirror of the tug, and it is just constantly playing on my mind about what's going to happen on Tuesday when they just make out like I've just set off a nuclear bomb, and that's all that's going through my mind. I know I shouldn't be thinking about it, but that's legitimately all that's going through my mind. What kind of nonsense they're going to come out with regarding me knocking off a wind mirror on a tug. Yeah, so this kind of game today, even though this literally happened at 20 to 7 in the evening, it's been playing on my mind ever since. So yeah, my headspace really isn't in the mood to be talking about these games, but we'll just quickly go through them for 2 seconds. I mean, regarding the games, I got 2 of them bang on the money in the Super Brew, now up to second, but apparently, according to some moron, I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to predictions. They even created a fake account. Think how much of a sad, pathetic loser you have to be to create a fake account to attack one of the hosts on this show. You are a cretin. You need to reevaluate life. And yeah, it's pretty tragic, really. But yeah, I one of the games that I did get right was Chelsea winning 2-0. Goals from Nicholas Jackson, Palmer, assists from Sterling, and Palmer. The bonus points going to Palmer, 3, Badalashil, Silva, and potentially Nicholas Jackson popping in there, and Disassi popping in there with one apiece as well. The shock result in my... Well, there's no opinion about it. It's a fact. The big shock result today was... and hopefully Arsenal can take advantage of this tomorrow along with Liverpool. Man City 2, Crystal Palace 2. Goal scorers being Grealish, Lewis, Mateta, Elise with a 95th minute penalty. Assist from Foden. Mateta getting the assist for Elise's penalty because he was kicked by Foden, and then Schlupp with the other assist. Newcastle 3, Fulham 0. I was grateful that Wilson did absolutely nothing in that game. Apparently Isaac was out today completely. Almiron, Burn, Miley with the goals. Guimaraes and Gordon with the assist. A very, 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 very lucky assist. I mean, Gordon, from the highlights, looked like he played really, really well. But that playing really, really well doesn't turn into points. And today he got just an assist. Again, extremely lucky that Wilson didn't touch that. But he got the assist. And the bonus points going to Livramento, Burn and Almiron / Guimaraes. And then on to the final game of, as I called it, Burnley 0, Everton 2. Michael Keane and Anana with the goals. Very, very... I've just literally just seen the Michael Keane goal. Extremely sloppy. Essentially, he takes a shot. It hits into a defender, but the ball deflects back into Michael Keane's path, and he just slots it into the back of the net. Anana scoring from a McNeil corner. Sean Dyche had clearly told his players, Burnley are shit at corners. Whenever we get a set piece, you whip it in, and we're going to score. And they had several opportunities to score from corners, free kicks, etc. Anana, Keane and Patterson with the bonus points there. According to my uncle, we could have played all night and we were never going to score. It says it all, really, to be honest with you. And it's just, unfortunately, one of those where people like myself have accepted the fact that we will be relegated. I called it, when was it? I can't even remember now when I called it, but it was several weeks back now. If we weren't to win a specific game, we're going to go down, and that's exactly what happened. So how does the table look as it stands right now? Liverpool, Arsenal and Aston Villa still in the top 3, but like I said, Aston Villa and Arsenal can take advantage of the fact that Man City drew today. If they win tomorrow, Aston Villa go 4 points clear of Man City, and Arsenal will go 5 points clear of City. If they win, Tottenham with the game last night, I don't know if anybody saw it, but I say that. Of course you fucking saw it. Tottenham beating Nottingham Forest in a very end-to-end game. The only difference is that Tottenham put away their chances and Nottingham Forest didn't. That's all it was. That's all it came down to. The chances that were missed by Nottingham Forest. And yeah, I really was, in the words of Neil Fox, Dr. Fox, Froggy off XFM, I just wasn't entertained. And what do you mean by that? I don't know what to say, Ricky. I just, you're David Brent, you did The Office, it's funny, oh my god, this radio show is going to be brilliant, but I just wasn't entertained. Could you elaborate though? Well, you just weren't entertaining enough. When I come onto a radio show, I want to be entertained. And anyway, yeah, it was an entertaining game. I legitimately in Sky was going to captain Vicario, but I thought just, Steve-o, after the last week of not playing it safe, I decided to play it safe this week, and I captained Son instead of Vicario. And of course, Vicario comes through with 9 points rather than Son's 3. We then have Newcastle moving up to 6th. 2 points clear of Man United with that game in hand against Liverpool tomorrow, where I agree with FPL Juice. I have this feeling that we're all expecting Liverpool to absolutely annihilate Man United, including me, and it's probably going to end up being 1-0 Liverpool, 0-0, 1-1, even Man United to win it. What other teams? Obviously Chelsea winning today. They're up to 10th now. 22 points. Chelsea assets for me are out the door. The only one I'd be interested in is Palmer. I'm probably going to keep Haaland next week. My genuine transfer plan was just to do Haaland out for Jimenez, and that's it, done. Oh yeah, Jimenez. Firetog, did you see his red card? That was one of the funniest red cards I've ever seen. A flying karate kick from Jimenez into, I don't even know who it was he attacked, and fucking hilarious is my response to that. I don't know if you saw the quick short. That was genuinely an initial live reaction to me laughing when I heard the news that Jimenez had been sent off, or more specifically when the yellow card was rescinded and out came the red card. He was genuinely going to be coming in for a 1 week punt for Haaland, and that ain't happening. I'm going to be getting rid of him. I'm going to get rid of Sterling, and I've got the player in mind that I want. The only downside is that the only player I want from Chelsea is Palmer. The only player I want from Chelsea is Palmer. Unfortunately, he plays for Chelsea, but he's a good blocker. He's a good blocker on rivals, and I agree with Edgeworth. He does seem to be key to everything that Chelsea seem to be doing at the moment. So, yeah, I'm definitely keeping Haaland, though. I can't be bothered to get rid of him now. There's just no point in me doing anything with him. I see that Jason actually, brought in Alvarez instead of Darwin. Obviously, Alvarez with 2 points. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was an opportunity for him to score. It just went past the post. Obviously, he had a free kick as well, which was put in by Rodri, but that was announced as not allowed. It was disallowed. So Alvarez didn't even get an assist. Obviously, with the game ending 2-2, I think, like I say, that was the shock result. Someone called Adam saying, "Hi guys. I've been following the channel for a few weeks now and have really been enjoying the content. Your Super Review predictions on Friday night are super enjoyable." Really? I certainly enjoy doing it with Jason. Absolutely. Philip wants to see my bench. I must see your bench. Your bench, Steve-O, please. I need to see your bench because I'm so desperate to fucking see what players you've got coming off, just so I can be validated in what I've done, yeah? Fucking hell. It's Semenyo, the player that only seems to play 45 minutes all of a sudden. He's on the bench. And of course, who's my second sub? Lascelles. Of course it is. The one time where I thought to myself, I have a feeling Semenyo could do something. And actually, apparently, he could have scored today, but Bell decided to make a last-ditch clearance off the line from Semenyo. But yeah, Lascelles is a second sub. I've got problems with my team, but I'm not going to discuss it now because that's the whole point. More specifically, when I do the show with Jason tomorrow on the Sunday Surgery, live at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow evening, I'll be able to talk about it then, but certainly going in tomorrow's games. Oh, by the way, I was very fortuitous with Poro getting 2 bonus points yesterday. Very, very fortuitous. I know he was very good last night, but and that effort he had, that was blocked by the header that was going in the top left-hand corner. I literally was just like, I was fucking gutted. But tomorrow I've got Jimenez, Gabriel, Saka, Salah captain, Watkins. But on Jason's worry because he had Dubravka today with 7 points. He's also got Trent Alexander-Arnold. I actually had a dream about that game. I dreamt that it ended 6-0. Trent got a goal and an assist, and he also got 3 bonus points, and Salah got a goal and an assist in a 3-0 win. And I just remember in the team. Very good, Dan. Dan, can you come on or not? Can you actually come on, Dan, so I can actually talk to someone? I just think that what was it? Yeah, I just want someone to speak to, basically. There we are, done. Dan's coming live on air. Fantastic. Hallelujah. Praise be. Dan's going to come live on air via the Discord, of course. Everybody just talking about Solanke. You better not be talking about this on Twitter, because everybody on Twitter is going, I'm going to block you. If the word Solanke's even mentioned, I'm going to block you. That's everybody, all they're caring about is just speaking about Solanke. In fact, no one is even speaking about any of this. Maestro, good evening, saying Jimenez thought he was in WWE today. Are we going to get a Chris Tarrant impression? Yeah, I'll do my Chris Tarrant impression now. I was literally watching that PK7, an episode the other day, deliberately, and every single question he just done this. Right. Is that Mark? Hello, Mark. It's Chris Tarrant here. We've got Dan here on the Discord, and he's doing rather well. He's at £64,000. He's third. He's third in the Torbay Elite Mini League, and with your help, you can get to fourth. You can get to second. Dan, can you explain what was on your bench yesterday? Yeah. Is it A, 12 points, B, 0, C, 3, or D, 1? Fucking hell. Mark Cassidy saying, I love your podcast. What, talking about, well, things I can't basically talk about on here. Literally can't talk about on here. Colm saying Lascelles could have seen red for an elbow on Jimenez just before he got sent off. Well, clearly nothing happened there because essentially he what was I saying? Oh yeah, he didn't even get a yellow card, so clearly the bloke didn't work. Dan. Hold on a minute, I don't even know if you're on air. No, you're not. Do you want to say, we've got Dan on the line. Dan.
Hello.
That's John Harris, Dan. Dan, no one's talking in the chat. No one can be bothered to watch this. So, Dan, I'm just going to ask you questions about today. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine, mate. It's fine.
It's fine, mate. I've only got about 20 minutes to go. I don't want to make this too long. But let's just quickly go through basically what happened today at Bournemouth. This is your hometown. And fucking hell, Cy Powell's here. Jesus Christ. Cy Powell's here. Guest on my podcast next week for anybody that cares. If you care about CM Punk, make sure you listen in. And Cy, I know I'm doing this live to you right now, but also I'm going to be talking to Cy about the struggles of a independent content creator. Yeah, enjoy all that. That's going to be a lot of fun. I know we're going to predominantly be spending a lot of time talking about CM Punk, but I've got a lot of respect for Cy. He does a lot of work for his own personal media channels, lots of independent wrestling shows, and obviously TV shows as well, predominantly the Doctor Who podcast. But anyway, and for instance, and coincidentally, Cy, the one time you actually tune in, I'm not actually wearing one of your shirts, unfortunately. But we could be here all day talking about Chain Wrestling, one of my favourite podcasts. Check them out. That's Chain Wrestling. Yeah, Dan, today, in all seriousness, the Bournemouth game obviously abandoned due to the circumstances regarding Tom Lockyer. Correct call in the end?
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, it's it's the second time it's happened to him in his career, and yeah, obviously, without a doubt. And it's just crazy. I mean, you've got 140 people tuned in at the moment, and everyone's going bananas about their bonus points, and a man's like, life was at risk playing a football game. It's just absolutely, I'm sure that the haters are going to come for me in the comments.
I'm sorry, but let's just get it real here. The tragedy of the situation is that the people that play fantasy football are individuals that are addicted to a game in which individuals that are playing an actual football match get them points for doing certain things within a game, and yet when something serious happens, that goes out the window. People are more concerned about whether their points stand or not. My answer is get a fucking grip of yourself. I'm going to clip that. But carry on, Dan. Sorry.
Yeah, like just straight into it, Steve. No filler tonight, but yeah, like I with this game, so I didn't bring Solanke in. I brought Watkins in, but for Haaland. But yeah, I just felt that it wouldn't be necessarily as straightforward as people were thinking for Bournemouth. Obviously, after all the amazing results they've had recently, Luton are basically a team of street fighters, and they kind of remind me a bit of the original Wimbledon from back in the day. Like it's like that sort of underdog mentality, particularly at home. They've obviously been, they've done well this season, and they've been unlucky in a few games, particularly against us. And defensively, they're real well organised. They'll be tight, and I just felt it would be a tricky game for Bournemouth today. But in terms of what will actually happen, for obviously it was. I think they'll just have to replay the game from the start. I really don't know. There was obviously Ericsson in the World Cup for Denmark in their game when that obviously terrible thing happened. Like, I just don't know what happens with this, really.
No, nor do I. And I think that we all, whether you're a fantasy football fan or more specifically a football fan in general, I think that we just have to wait for wherever the decision is made. I'm assuming the game will just be restarted, as in quite literally just replayed, and ironically everybody will be loving the fact that we've now we will probably have a double game week for Bournemouth and Luton. Let's not mess about here. That is what the outcome is. They can't just abandon a game and then never gets played again, and the result is just not necessarily void, but it's just, well, it was 1-1 at the time, so it's just going to be a point apiece. It just doesn't work like that. So it will probably eventually end up as a game with ending 1-1. Just to let the listeners know, I'm literally trying to bring up Dan's team, but for some reason everything's running really, really slow on my laptop for some bizarre reason, so I'm just going to leave you with my team up on screen there. But you are completely right, though, regarding Luton. I think that teams to target in this particular league are not Luton. They're not Nottingham Forest. They're not, obviously not Everton or Crystal Palace. It's the teams like Burnley and Sheffield United. They are the two, and that's why my 1 week punt for next week was going to be Jimenez, which beautifully links me into that individual. Did you see the sending off?
I did, yeah. It was. It reminded me of. You probably won't get the reference, but it reminded me of Schumacher, the German goalkeeper from the 1982 World Cup against France in the semi-final. If for any of the young ones out there, just stick it on YouTube and you'll see what you mean, because it was a very similar move to what that goalkeeper did, and he got away with it actually and saved a penalty in the shootout. But yeah, I mean, it was just. I don't know what Jimenez was doing. I mean, Newcastle are quite a dirty team, to be fair, so maybe he was just trying to rough them up a little bit. But yeah, I bet you're glad he didn't go with that move.
Dan makes a statement about frowning on people talking about the replay and then does it himself. Fuck my life. What a hypocrite. Any words for Mike there?
Say this comment again.
Dan makes a statement about frowning on people talking about the replay and then does it himself. Fuck my life. What a hypocrite.
Oh, I'm a massive. I don't even know what this guy's going on about. Like, what would he play?
Yeah, exactly. Again, these are what individuals from the world of them.
I'm commenting on what people are saying. So, yeah, there you go. I am frowning on you. I'm judging you. Don't you worry about it.
But yeah, going through the games just quickly here. How did you consume? Because, like I said, I'm shocked that you're even on here. Because you normally, let's get real here. If you want to tell the audience, what do you normally do on a Saturday regarding the football? Normally,
I knew you were streaming tonight, so I didn't, have any particular plans for this evening. So I thought I'd watch the highlights of the games before the, obviously you went on air really, and just so I could check out the action and see what had happened. And yeah, so that I just, went on the internet and watch the games on some websites that I don't know how legal they are, but I don't really care really. So I get to watch them. So yeah, lots of ads.
Yeah. So let's just quickly go through the games. Like I said, you're more educated in the world of football than I am. And did you watch Nottingham Forest 0 Tottenham 2 last night?
I didn't know. I read the match report last night, and Poro, that was one I was thinking. I no one's got him. That's one of my direct rivals, but of course you do.
Yeah, he was very good last night, and the one thing with Poro is that he's a very, very attack-minded player. He's on a lot of set pieces as well, and he's one of the driving forces for Tottenham when they push forward. I know Udogie is very direct himself, but that's what he is. He's just literally direct. He just runs forward and tries to create that space by taking out certain individuals. And essentially, sorry, Jason's just messaging me there. He fell asleep. But yeah, he just takes people out the game to allow the likes of Son, but Brennan Johnson, Lo Celso, Richard, whoever, to get into space while Udogie runs off into the distance. Whereas Poro, I don't know, there's something about him. There just seems to be more of a driving force with him, where he's a bit more calm and collated about what he does. And I don't know what it is about him, but he kind of has this, apart from his shenanigans rolling around the floor as if he's just had his ankle broken, there seems to be a presence about him which the team kind of enjoy his directness. And certainly I think that for people looking at a potential Spurs asset, I think Poro is somebody that people genuinely should be looking at. I think that he is a good asset. I mean, talking of defenders, Dan, and looking at your team here, I did smile when I saw you've got Dan Burn on your bench. I mean, a very, very, very unfortunate benching there for yourself.
Yeah, like Fulham have been scoring so many goals of recent. I know Newcastle was just solid hope, especially the league this season, but due to how Fulham have been playing of recent, it was the case of look at my options of Gabriel and whatnot. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow, but it's just one of those ones, isn't it? He's just back from injury and whatnot. And when I saw the goal go in and he basically pushed Leno into the net, it just rubbed salt into the wounds, really. But, over the course of, I mean, unless some of my players don't play tomorrow, yeah, obviously I'm going to miss out on those 12 points, which is gutting. But just how it goes sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think any of your players aren't going to play. And even for me, I mean, I've got Lascelles as my second sub, so unfortunately he ain't going to be coming on at all for Haaland. But yeah, talking of that game, obviously Newcastle winning 3-0. Like you say, you watch the highlights like me. Anthony Gordon looked pivotal as ever. Very threatening. Unfortunate not to get maybe another assist or even a goal in that game. It looked like Leno, based on the save points, was the hero of the hour for Fulham. Alex Volo had Willian, one of your old boys / obviously Chelsea's ex-player, Willian. But what's his face came out and said that unfortunately Willian is someone essentially that we need to manage his minutes, and there was a bit of a hint that he may not be starting or even playing today, full stop. So Alex is getting an Arsenal defender off the bench, I think he is. I'm pretty certain it's an Arsenal defender off the bench. But yeah, Newcastle winning 3-0. Pretty straightforward, Dan, really.
Yeah, like I said, obviously Fulham been playing so well recently, but Newcastle, I watched their game against AC Milan during the week, and then they needed a reaction from that, didn't they, really? Obviously, all the disappointment of that. Gimenez play well. I mean, Gordon, your player, obviously, I was watching him, and that there was a bit. I think it was in the first half when the ball came across and he took the ball down. I was like, oh my god, the control was it was Bergkamp-esque, but obviously hit the crossbar and whatnot. And yeah, he was quite pivotal, and Newcastle just had too much for Fulham, really. And Fulham's away kit is just atrocious. But Jimenez getting sent off changed the game. I mean, even after the sending off, obviously Iwobi, one of our old players, had a chance 1-on-1. But this is the thing with Iwobi, like, can be a bit inconsistent with his finishing and hit it straight at the goalkeeper, Dubravka, which, Dubravka getting me the clean sheet, finally doing something since I brought him in. The Dan Burn thing, it's irritating me thinking about it, but he's another option off the bench, obviously, as a cheap defender. Quite a lot of cheap defenders in my team as it is at the moment. But Newcastle back to winning ways. I mean, they've got the League Cup quarter-final against Chelsea. Obviously, that's a big game for them. And Callum Wilson not really coming up trumps for you either.
No, unfortunately not. No. Going on to, as I called it yesterday, a pretty straightforward. It should be just get a win and literally just go back to your change room and just be happy you got a win, with Chelsea winning 2-0. Look, Sheffield United at the moment are going through the same thing as Burnley, which is, actually more specifically, Sheffield United are trying to just shut up shop because, according to TalkSports, journalists that were down there at the time, reporters that were down there, they pretty much said regarding the first half, which was 0-0, they just said that was one of the worst games of football they'd ever seen. If football was even played, it was that bad. Chelsea winning 2-0, but of course, Cole Palmer, for you, Dan, going through with a double-digit haul of 14 points today.
Yeah, finally paying off. Obviously brought him in with Mbeumo, who's obviously got that bad injury, but couple of weeks ago, and he didn't return in the first game week, and I was thinking, have I done the right move bringing him in? But he had a great game today. It wasn't the best game, it's not one to remember, and he could have had a second assist, obviously, for Broja. I don't know how Broja missed that, but it sort of bounced up a bit for him, and it was just, it was a shocking miss towards the end. But Palmer played well. He had a cracking game today, and sort of made a difference there for Chelsea. But Sheffield United, they're the worst team in the league, and
I'm sure about that.
Myself, whoever plays Sheffield United, is that going to be a case for captaincy each week? But having said that, how reliable have Chelsea been this season? They've got this mega bucks, billion bucks team that they've assembled, this sort of algorithm generated team, yet they're sort of mid-table, and now Pochettino saying he needs more players. It's just absolutely crazy. But Palmer coming through, and obviously he's great value there in the midfield, and I could even celebrate. I celebrated Palmer's goal. I thought, what the hell's going on here? I can't stand Chelsea, but I said, oh, they're not a threat.
Well, that's what
really mad.
It's what fantasy football does to us, Dan. I'm afraid it doesn't matter who the player is. If they play for your rival, you're going to celebrate because they're in your team. We'll move on to Burnley 0, Everton 2. By chance, did you even watch this game?
I didn't, no. I watched the highlights of some of the games, but Everton have been... Yourself and Jason, I listened the other night. I think it was maybe I can't remember when the stream was. It might have been last weekend, actually. I don't think you've given Everton enough credit, actually, because considering the points deduction they've had, they've done really well the last, few weeks, and particularly this season. So it was always going to be a tough game for Burnley. And there was obviously the big subplot about, obviously, Dyche coming back to Burnley and whatnot. But you know more about this game than me. Talk us through it as to as to what happened?
Well, I don't know anything about the game other than the fact that it looked like Dyche's plan was just to, whenever they had a set piece, they knew that we're very, very vulnerable, like we were last year at set pieces. We just can't defend them. And I mean, I just find it so ironic that one of our biggest flaws in the Championship was our defending, despite the fact that we went up with record points and record wins and everything and record clean sheets. We couldn't defend, and that's the biggest difference between the Championship and the Premier League. In the Championship, let's just quickly go through it for 2 seconds here, shall we? With the Championship, you are playing teams like Norwich, Millwall, Bristol City, Preston, Cardiff, Middlesbrough, Coventry, Swansea, even though Swansea did very well last year, Stoke, Huddersfield. These teams, they're just shit. And if you allow them a chance on goal, because they're shit, they're not going to take it. In the Premier League, it doesn't matter how bad you are, the quality of player that's in that team is going to be a lot better than a substandard Championship level player. And these individuals just take their chances. Now, don't get me wrong, the Michael Keane goal was just this horrible, sloppy goal to give away. The ball came in, whatever. Michael Keane took a shot. It got blocked, but then it landed back at his feet, and he just put the ball in the back of the net. But I think the biggest problem for us is just the simple fact that we are losing games with just what appears to be just no fight or anything. Whereas I do agree with you that with Everton, that they have got that old Burnley mentality under what Dyche had, which is get everybody together. We've got the same ideas and we're all moving in the right direction. As I read on one of the wards the other day, what is team building? And one of them was everybody has got the same ideas and we all want to move in the right direction. Whereas with Burnley, it just, as the turf cast keep banging on about, it's just a bunch of individuals who, yeah, they're brilliant, but from a team standpoint, they're just not there. And it's all well and good. It's a bit like Chelsea, funny enough. They've got some excellent individual players, but when it comes to actually being a team, I just don't think they're there. Maybe the same as Man United as well. Brilliant players, just not a cohesive unit. Whereas you take the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Aston Villa, to name 3. A brilliant set of players that are all working in the right direction to get the right results. You could argue the same thing with Brighton or West Ham. Or Bournemouth, or in this specific case, Everton. But you look at like Nottingham Forest as another example of a bunch of individuals who are very, very good. As a team, though, it's just not there. And I think because of this, certainly with Burnley, and the fact that we're just a bunch of children, basically. Even James Trafford in goal, he's 19, I think he is. Mm-hmm. And I agree with the turf cast. It's almost cruel that we're playing him every single week. But hey, at the end of the day, Vincent Kompany, he knows what he's doing, but I just think that the Premier League, or specifically this team in the Premier League, is just the Burnley team is below the Premier League level. And to be honest, I think this specific team sits about mid to bottom half of the Championship this season. Whereas, like I said, last year we had the likes of Harwood Bellis at the back, Teller, and of course Maatsen. 3 key components to what we were doing well last year. Whereas this year, it's just a bunch of kids that have been brought in, and most of the players didn't even play with each other last year. So I think it's a big problem that the company really does need to address. But I just don't think it will happen this year. And I think that next season, when we're back in the Championship, we'll just have like an okay run, because this whole Premier League experience has been quite literally an experience and a learning circumstance for us. But I think it's just almost practice for next season to see if we can get in the playoffs. basically. But we'd be lucky to even get into the playoffs next year. So yeah, we are rightly 6 points behind Nottingham Forest, and I can't see Nottingham Forest dropping 6 points. It's the same as we're bloody 11 points behind Bournemouth, for crying out loud, Dan, and you're 14th.
Yeah, I mean, the big question is, will Company, we'll revisit the conversation we had a few weeks ago, will he get the chance to stay on throughout the duration of the season to put things right?
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to the final game of the day, which was the shock result of the day. It was Man City 2, Crystal Palace 2. Now, obviously, there's all that chat of, well, Crystal Palace and Man City bogey team, and you look at the actual last 6 fixtures, and it's like, well, they got a win and a draw, but the other 4 fixtures Man City won. But then I find out that now this is the 4th game in 6 that Crystal Palace haven't lost to Man City at the Etihad, something like that. Or maybe it's 3 games in 5. I can't remember exactly what it is. Pretty crazy, the fact that they concede a last minute penalty, and now this is the fourth draw in 6 games for Man City. I mean, you watch Champions League football as well, Dan. I don't know how often you watch Man City, but do you know what's going on here regarding Man City's results?
I mean, they played kids during the week, and they actually won the game. So they can't really use that as an excuse. They've got this FIFA money generating tournament, the Club World Cup, obviously, that Liverpool were in a few years ago. And obviously Chelsea were in it as well when you win the Champions League. So, but I just, I mean, you look at the basics of it, that, De Bruyne is obviously out. Haaland's got this injury, but then they scored a couple of good goals today. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it. I mean, it's just surprising. But like you said, Palace, they've had some good results over the years against them, and they are a little bit of a bogey team for them. And psychologically, that must, give teams a lift. And this season, Man City, obviously they lost to Wolves and they lost to Villa, but obviously so did we lose to Villa. There's been games that I'm just surprised that they've lost. I mean, Rodri was playing today, so you can't use that because obviously when Rodri's not playing, they've dropped points and whatnot. So I was just thinking to myself, God, I just hope that we take advantage tomorrow against one of our teams that has given us trouble at the Emirates the last few years, which is Brighton, of course.
We'll talk about that in a second, because I'm just looking at since the start of the season, including the draw with you guys in the Charity Shield. This is how it goes. Man City results this year: draw 1-1-1-1-1-1-1, loss 1, loss 1-1-1-1, and then since they beat Young Boys 3-0 in the Champions League on the 7th of November, it's been draw with Chelsea 4-4, draw with Liverpool 1-1. They beat RP Leipzig 3-2. They then drew with Tottenham 3-3. They lose to Aston Villa 1-0. They just about beat Luton 2-1. They just about get past Crvena Zvezda 3-2. And then they draw 2-2 with Crystal Palace. There's clearly something going on over the past several weeks since the November the 11th. Did they qualify in the Champions League quite quickly? They won all 6, didn't they, in their group?
Yeah, they're smashing it up in the Champions League. I mean, they beat Salzburg. That was the main rival in their group, the team that finished second. But they've even conceded a few goals along the way in that. I mean, it's strange because when you look at obviously John Stones came on late today. He's been out a little bit as well, so I guess that would make a difference. But the only other thing, of course, is having won the treble last season, it's trying to hold up to those standards this season, isn't it? Really, it's an incredibly difficult thing to do. So, but it's a long season, isn't it? I mean, just dropping points at home to Palace. City had a bit of a wobble last season, and then they came good when it mattered. So it's still early in the season for anything to be said and done. But I think Pep will certainly have some worries in his mind tonight.
Well, they've got this World Cup, whatever it bloody is, in 3 days' time against Urawa Red Diamonds.
Yeah, they beat Lyon yesterday.
Sorry?
They beat Lyon. Not Lyon, the French team, but Lyon yesterday, the Mexican team.
Oh, so this tournament's already started then?
Yeah, it was like a quarter final yesterday. I just read about it on BBC Sport. Apparently, there was about just under 3,000 people watching the game. So I'd never even heard of this team, Lyon. I just thought of the great film. That's just what came to my mind because it's spelled Leon. But yeah, they played yesterday, and obviously their seasons. The Japanese season, I don't think it's running at the moment, so they'll be quite fit and ready. I think they'll give City a decent game, but who knows? And then it'll be Fluminense in the final, I'd imagine.
Jesus Christ. I don't know who these teams are. I don't particularly care. It's something which, like you say, is just a cash cow for FIFA. But anyhow, when Man City return, they've got Everton away. And I'm telling you now, Dan, as it stands right this second, I'm putting that down as a draw. As it stands right this second. I think that's a tough fixture for Man City. They then got 2 home games, Sheffield United and Huddersfield in the FA Cup. Then they're away at Newcastle. Going to be a very, very difficult fixture. And then it's Burnley at home. So actually, over the next several games, they're in for a couple of tough fixtures when they get back. And I've still got Haaland. Did you say you sold Haaland for Watkins, yeah?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Are you concerned about not owning Haaland? Have you got a plan bringing him back? What is the thought process with him?
I mean, I could potentially just roll a transfer next week and then get him back in because with those fixtures, I mean, they're not easy, are they? Like Everton away, Newcastle away, obviously Burnley at home. No offence, but that'll be a massacre. Yeah, it's either that or I don't know. I've got Alvarez in, but Alvarez today it was just like Palace packed their defence, obviously, and he just couldn't. He just didn't do anything, did he today? So it is frustrating, and I don't know. It's a brave manager to kind of not bring him back in. Having said that, so I'll have a little think about that one. But I've got 2 options, haven't I? I can either just save a transfer next week and bring him back in. Potentially get rid of bloody Alvarez and then look at. Yeah, I need to ponder that a bit more.
Yeah, my plan was just to bring in just a 1 week punt. It was going to be Jimenez versus Burnley, but obviously I can't do that now, so I'm just going to leave Haaland in. I'm just going to play Semenyo for his 41 minutes next week, and then I'm going to be I am going to be bringing in one particular player who I'm going to keep stump about. I'm just waiting on tomorrow's games basically to see how he looks. Tomorrow's games, I don't really need to talk about West Ham, Brentford. Well, I say that. Obviously, I want to talk about your game, Arsenal versus Brighton, but there is quite an interesting game between Brentford and Aston Villa. Brentford, a team who are very, very good at home. They do like a draw. Their last 5 fixtures, though, have contained 4 losses and 2 wins. Not particularly great for the form board. I mean, I say they like to draw. I mean, they've only drawn 3 times this season. In fact, let's ask Dan now. Who are the 3 teams that Brentford have drawn against this season in the Premier League? In fact, actually, it's 4 teams that they've drawn against in the Premier League. Who are those 4, Dan?
Fulham?
No.
Nottingham Forest?
Yeah, that is 1.
Sheffield United?
No, we're going to be here. In fact, I say we're going to be here all day. 2 of them are London-based teams, and the other one is local to you.
Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Spurs.
Yep. One more London team.
Bloody hell. Chelsea?
No, it begins with C, though. London-based club beginning with C.
Crystal Palace?
That's the one, yes. But since then, since their draw against Nottingham Forest and a 1-1 back in October the 1st, it's been a loss, win, loss, win, loss. And they're up against an Aston Villa team who, away from home, aren't great, as we know. They seem to, for whatever bizarre reason, seem to struggle away from home. Now, just a quick question for you, Dan. Unai Emery, when he was at Arsenal, was he struggling as an away manager? If you can remember.
You know what? I've been thinking about this a lot recently. Like, he was a good manager, man. Like, I don't know. I've been thinking, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we had decent away form, really, but he was gung ho sometimes. That was what I remember from Emery's time at Arsenal. The painful games for me to remember, right, is when we lost 3-2 at home to Palace, yeah? And this was after Europa League. I think it was a semi-final, potentially, against Valencia. And we played Carl Jenkinson at right back, and he was up against Zaha, and that was one of the games that cost us getting in the top 4 that season. And then the other game is the 4-1 friggin' Europa League final, fucking travesty game. Hazard's last game for Chelsea. So, but I feel like our away form was decent. You know, we scored goals, and we had, you know, Guendouzi and these other players that were sort of good for a little while. Socrates as well. But I mean, I'm getting all nostalgic about that particular season. But you know, I've got Watkins in, and I'm hoping that he can do the damage tomorrow.
Well, Aston Villa's last 6 away fixtures is a pattern here. Loss 1, drawn, loss 1, drawn. So tomorrow's probably going to be a loss. I've got it down as a draw, personally, myself, tomorrow's fixtures. Like I say, with Brentford at home, at least, they do seem to draw quite a few. Brentford's home record is as follows. I mean, it's just down the road from me, funny enough. But it is as follows once it decides to come up, which it has done. 1-3, drawn 3, lost 2. Yeah, like I said, they haven't lost too many there, only just lost the 2. Scored 15, conceded 12. I mean, I say about the drawing, but they haven't drawn a game in the last 6, barring 1, which was, in fact, in the last 6 fixtures, that draw was against Bournemouth 2-2. And again, a bit of a pattern here. So if Aston Villa was loss 1, drawn, probably going to be a loss. Brentford's pattern is loss 1-1, loss 1, and it'd probably be a win. I've got it down tomorrow as a draw 1-1. But yeah, 1-1, 2-1 either way, but I think more in Aston Villa's favour. Have you got a quick score prediction for that, Dan?
I'm hoping that... Actually, do you know what? I'm hoping Brentford win and Watkins does the business. But I feel like Villa will win. Just because of Brentford, the injuries to the key players. I'm going to go 2-1 Villa.
Yep, sound result there. I do, like I say.
They're doing my head in a bit though, Villa. Like, the thing is, I've been up to Birmingham so many times. I've been to Villa Park quite a few times in my life. I've got some good friends that are Villa fans. But I don't like them, you know, making this title challenge. So,
you're putting them in the title challenge, are you then?
They're there, Steve-O. They've just beat Man City. They've just beat us. Clean sheets in both games. Watkins is, you know, doing well this season. DRB. Douglas Luiz.
Bailey.
Got some good players, mate. So
Begin.
John Harris is loving life at the moment. Is he a Villa fan? I'm assuming he is.
Do you know what? Do you know what, John? I know you were in the chat. If you are listening, let us know.
It's probably a Birmingham City.
Yeah. Well, it is your game tomorrow. Big game, very important. Just to go through a few basic stats here. Arsenal at home, they've won 6, drawn 2. Lost 0, scored 20 goals, only conceded the 8. Brighton, on the other hand, away from home, 1-3, drawn 1, lost 3. Scored 15, conceded 16. They're on a -1 goal difference here. Not looking great for Brighton away from home. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy victory, but I'd like to think that this is going to be a victory for you guys. 2-1, 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, they played in the Europa League, didn't they? Obviously finished top of their group on Thursday, so well done to Brighton on their qualification in that particular tournament, or competition, I should say. But I mean, they beat us badly last season, and we need to get revenge for that particular game, I think. So, and there's been, obviously a few players from their side coming our way. And maybe, in the words of Tiny Temper, it's written in the stars that Leandro Trossard will bounce back and get his goal tomorrow against his former team. Whether he celebrates or not is another thing. But I'm going to just go 2-1 Arsenal, hopefully. It's a big game, and it won't be easy at all, but we have to bounce back from it was just the frustrating thing last Saturday was that I think we played well, really. We just didn't have that cutting edge. And that's been the case. I said after the game that our 2 toughest away games this season, we've lost them both narrowly to 2 good teams in evening games once again when the pressure's on because we don't have a clinical striker. And if we don't get a clinical striker in January, we won't win the league. So that's just my opinion on that.
Talking of big games, obviously, we'll just end on Liverpool at home to Man United. Man United haven't drawn a game all season. Liverpool at home, they are ridiculous. They've won all 7 games. They haven't barely conceded any goals. Only conceded 5 goals, scoring 21. Man United, on the other hand, away from home, 1-4. Obviously drawn nothing, conceded 3. Lost 3. However, bizarrely, Man United have only scored 8 goals away from home and conceded 7. It's the most bizarre reading, considering just to give you some basic ideas, Dan, of teams in and around them. So, bearing in mind, Man United, this is Man United. This is away from home. They've scored 8, conceded 7. The team below them, Crystal Palace, have scored 10, conceded 13. Aston Villa conceded 15, scored 10. West Ham above them have scored 14, conceded 20, and Everton have scored 12, conceded 11. In fact, Man United's figures away from home, specifically scoring goals, is as good as Brentford, who have only scored 8, 1 less than Fulham, and 1 more than Nottingham Forest and Luton, and only 2 more than Burnley. They have got the best defensive record away from home. Can you name the other team that's got the joint best away record from conceding goals, Dan? Best defensive record away from home along with Man United.
Arsenal?
Yes, it is Arsenal, yes. Liverpool, on the other hand, some basic looking over them. Conceding only 5 goals at home. That's only bettered by which team, Dan?
Villa?
Very close, it's Newcastle. Aston Villa, along with Liverpool, have only conceded 5. Arsenal with the 8, Man City 9. And can you name the other 2 teams that have only conceded single-digit goals away from home? So we've got Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle, Aston Villa that have conceded single-digit goals against them at home. Who are the other 2 teams that have conceded only single-digits at home?
Villa?
I've already mentioned Villa.
Oh, you already... Sorry. Everton?
That is one, yep. And the other one is pretty much near them in the table.
Newcastle?
No, they're top of the table, Dan. So a team that's near, in and around Everton.
Oh.
I mean, I say that, but actually they're 1, 2, 3, 4. They're 4 places above, well, 5 places above them technically.
Yeah.
Begins with F.
Pardon?
That is right, Dan. So yeah, tomorrow Liverpool versus Man United. Any quick thought processes? Obviously, Liverpool win tomorrow. They continue staying above you, but you never know. Man United may get a result.
Liverpool are going to slap them up, but I say they're going to do that. I mean, I just think it will be a professional 2-0, something like that. Really, I think United have got injuries. I managed to watch the second half of their game against Bayern during the week, and they tried, but it was just Bayern had nothing to play for, but they got the win. And United just I hope they can do us a favour, which is weird to say, but I can't see it because Liverpool are playing very, very well this season, and they're the team that scare me the most. Actually, is Liverpool. They really are, and we've got to play them obviously next Saturday. So this is a big set of games for Liverpool coming up. But I just think, aren't Bruno Fernandes and Harry Maguire out of this particular fixture as well?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah. 2 big names.
Wow, Man United do have injuries, don't they, as well? And the mood around the club at the present moment is pretty, it's pretty bad. So, yeah, I just straightforward Liverpool win in this game.
We're coming up to a very busy period of football. Obviously, next week kicks off on Thursday for one game, Crystal Palace versus Brighton. Then on Friday, we've got Aston Villa versus Sheffield United. Then on the Saturday, we've got 2, 4, 5, the 4 games in the 3 o'clock kickoffs. We've got the early lunchtime kickoff, West Ham versus Man United. Obviously, your evening game, Liverpool versus Arsenal. And then on Sunday, just the one game, which is mental to think is on Christmas Eve, next week, Sunday. And then we move on to Boxing Day, where unfortunately we've only got bloody 5 games on Boxing Day. Then it's spread across the bloody week, where it's then on to Wednesday, 3 games, and then finally ending with your lot, Arsenal versus West Ham, with 2 games being played on Thursday the 28th. And then we get a bit of a break. No, we don't get a break, sorry. We then are on to the following Saturday, and it goes all the way through to Tuesday, and then we get the 2-week break with the FA Cup, when we then have in game week 21 the most bizarre 2-week. I mean, I didn't even remember this until someone reminded me in chat, or me and Jason in chat. We've got the 2-week breakdown, the winter break. Do you even remember this even happened? Because I didn't.
I do remember it a few years ago. Yeah, I didn't realise they were doing it this season, so that's going to be fun, isn't it? Great.
Yeah, it starts on the 13th of January. Between Chelsea and Fulham and Newcastle and Man City, and then it finishes with on Monday the 22nd between Brighton and Wolves. That'll be I'll tell you what, that'll be a good game. And then it restarts again the following Tuesday. So all the games are coming very thick and fast, Dan. Do you like this time of year, or do you think there's just that they've spread the game so far across the week that actually there just seems to be too much of it?
It'll be chaos to keep up with over the festive period. I mean, yeah, I obviously love watching the football and whatnot. It's they're cramming it all in, and then they're having this break. So I guess make the most of it whilst you can, and enjoy it over the holiday period, really.
Absolutely. And on that note, if you have been enjoying the stream tonight, please make sure to hit the like button. And if you are brand new around here, make sure you are hitting the subscribe button. Much appreciated. And for anybody watching on the replay, why not leave a comment afterwards? It doesn't matter what it is, just even if it's you just saying hi, it doesn't really matter. It always just helps the video and pushes it in a unofficial manner via YouTube, because whether you're aware or not, all our views get reset. So once this stream ends, it gets reset to about, I don't even know why, to 0 views, and then it just works its way up. It's a very bizarre system that's going on with YouTube, but we could do with all the help we need at the moment. But make sure you're joining myself and hopefully Jason tomorrow for the Man United game, where obviously Liverpool are taking on Man United. And yeah, other than that, Dan, have you got any quick final thoughts before we leave?
Just thanks for having me on. Thanks for everyone that's tuned in. And up the Arsenal for tomorrow, mate.
On that note, cheers everybody, and see you tomorrow for the Liverpool versus Man United game. Cheers, Dan.
Cheers, guys.